winter's night, but my heart still aches for those who fight for freedom's flame in the darkest light. True freedom fighters, the Mavericks we praise, blazing their trails through shadowy days. They stand unbroken, their courage shines for every soul, for all mankind. All I want for Christmas is freedom, for every maverick to lead the way. Goodwill toward men, let the light begin, and a brighter dawn for a brand new day. Break the chains of tyranny, let the world hear our rights are from a higher place, so clear. All I want this Christmas, my cheer, is freedom for all, far and near. The battle's not over, the war still calls against those who build oppression's walls. But the maverick spirit will never fade, a beacon of hope through history's blade. So we pray for strength, and we stand as one for the rights of the many and the dreams yet spun. The gift of freedom, it knows no price. The snow falls quiet, the stars burn bright, a season of hope in the winter's night. But my heart still aches for those who fight for freedom's flame in the darkest light. True freedom fighters, the Mavericks we praise, blazing their trails through shadowy days. They stand unbroken, their courage shines for every soul, for all mankind. All I want for Christmas is freedom, for every maverick to lead the way. Goodwill toward men, let the light begin, and a brighter dawn for a brand new day. Break the chains of tyranny, let the world hear our rights are from a higher place, so clear. All I want this Christmas, my cheer, is freedom for all, far and near. The battle's not over, the war still calls against those who build oppression's walls. But the maverick spirit will never fade, a beacon of hope through history's blade. So we pray for strength, and we stand as one for the rights of the many and the dreams yet spun. The gift of freedom, it knows no price.
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
MAGA mania has turned into a MAGA meltdown. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, triggering something of a MAGA family feud, a big backlash on the immigration issue. We'll dig into that tonight. Melanie Joly, Foreign Affairs Minister, Dominic LeBlanc, the Canadian new Finance Minister, down in Florida meeting with the Trump transition team, talking about what else? Canada becoming the 51st state. Is that what you want? Give it some thought. Canada's in play. We have all that and a lot more coming up right after this.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV.
The entire world is watching.
On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, some people are real excited about the idea of mass deportations. Some people are pretty excited about the idea of securing the borders. And then there's reality. Oh. Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk. Yeah, they want, more immigration. And they make a pretty strong argument for it. Cheap labor, skilled labor, higher priced labor, labor to fill jobs that can't be filled otherwise. The U.S. economy depends on a lot of these people that some would like to have deported. So reality is slapping somebody upside the head. And some people are losing their minds over it. This has created something of a rift within the MAGA movement. It's all about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about, well, in particular, bringing more labor into the United States to fill jobs, especially in the tech sector. And this has actually created as well a rift between Vivek's, well, I should say it has deepened a rift between Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. In fact, here, I'm going to show you the post, one of the first ones that kind of set off this round of infighting within the MAGA movement. This is Vivek Ramaswamy's post. And here he says, the reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. He says, a key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s, and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. I think Vivek Ramaswamy was valedictorian at his graduation, actually. Fact, he goes on and says, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. I like hanging out at the mall. At least I used to. Not so much anymore, since our mall is virtually empty in this town. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy, normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raised their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. I thought that was a strange choice of words. Sputnik. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us. Rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence, I'm confident we can do it. We can do it! Oh, there were some other movies he kind of left out of there. What about Meatballs? Remember the scene where Bill Murray's leading the cheer? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. He didn't mention Bart Simpson either. Underachiever and proud of it. Well, Nikki Haley has responded. I don't think these two like each other very much. Certainly not. It was pretty evident in the leadership debate when they were competing for Donald Trump's job as El Presidente. Well, she responded by saying, oh, no, I have to bring her up on a different screen. Excuse me. Here we go. And here are the cracks in the MAGA family showing up deep. Not that she's been embraced by Trump at all. He reached out to her and she said, no way. not gonna follow. I'm here to lead. Anyway, she's not really a part of the inner circle anymore. She says there's nothing wrong with American workers or American culture. All you have to do is look at the border and see how many want what we have. We should be investing and prioritizing in Americans, not foreign workers. And so, while Vivek Ramaswamy is sitting there advocating, promoting the idea of a return, or maybe a journey to a meritocracy in America, he's doing it while also saying that there's a place for even more skilled immigration, highly skilled immigrants coming in to fill jobs, or maybe even more low-skilled immigrants too to fill jobs that otherwise might not be filled, but more immigration, legal immigration. Nikki Haley, and he's saying that he's saying the problem with America isn't the immigrants now, you see, which Trump and the MAGA campaign, really, they were blaming a lot of the economic problems and social problems in the country on immigration during the campaign. It was very, very evident. It was just blatant, straight up, straight right in your face, you know? They're bringing in illegals, criminals, gangs, the drugs, raping, pillaging, right? And now they're saying, oh, but we need more immigration. And of course, this is triggering a lot of people because at the same time, he has been talking about mass deportations. So in the minds of a lot of people, millions and millions of people who look different, have different religion, whatever it is in people's minds, whatever group of people they don't like, they thought those would be the people being kicked out. But now, Vivek is saying, no, gotta have more immigration. Here's Vivek saying it in his own words. Let's have a listen.
The historical neoliberal consensus on immigration is that legal immigration is inherently good because it allows companies to reduce the costs of production to achieve the same level of overall output, which in turn has the effect of increasing the size of the overall economic pie. So let's make that specific. On the old view, if a company were able to hire 2 legal immigrants to do a job for $10 an hour, for the same quality, for the same output that an American worker requires $20 per hour to do, the right answer was to design policies, including an immigration policy, that allows the company to hire those 2 cheaper foreign-born workers. By contrast, the national protectionist view is that we should adopt policies that stop those 2 immigrants from taking the job so the single American worker could earn the higher wage. Now, the old school classical economists' response to that is that, well, that's going to reduce the size of the economic pie. It's going to reduce the number of American workers who get hired by companies at all. And I think the national protectionist response to that has effectively been, well, that's just an ivory tower myth that doesn't actually play out in reality. And more recently, I think there have been some creative and thoughtful arguments made that the influx of cheap foreign-born labor has actually impeded the quality of innovation in the United States. So, for example, when McDonald's is able to hire cheap foreign-born workers, they're less likely to innovate with digital kiosks at their shops. Instead, what they're able to do is now use those digital kiosks. There might be fewer American-born workers who are operating them, but they're going to be paid that $20 instead. This is an argument recently and thoughtfully made by my friend J.D. Vance in his recent interview with Ross Douthat in the New York Times. That is the national protectionist position. So the old neoliberal view, what it viewed as immigration policy as inextricably linked to economic policy, where the sole objective was economic growth. Where the national protectionist view, historically viewed as the NatCon view here, in response to that said that, you know what, we're going to view immigration policy as inextricably linked to labor policy. And we're seeing that in a lot of the statutes that are being proposed. A number of Republican senators have actually favored raising the federal minimum wage by over 50%. And one of the bill's co-sponsors in that case expressly said that raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour would make it more difficult for a company to replace a native-born worker with an immigrant who would work for less. Agree or not, that's an important part and parcel of the national protectionist position. The national libertarian position rejects the historical neoliberal consensus too, but on different grounds. The United States is not just an economic zone. This is what puts the national into national libertarian. We're a nation bound by a common set of civic ideals, shared citizens who share not just a geographic space, but a common set of ideals that unite that country, one that we've badly lost in the United States of America today. We are in the middle of a national identity crisis. We have lost our sense of who we are as citizens of this nation, and sloppy immigration policies have only worsened that crisis. So the right immigration policies would be those that look after the security interests of the United States, amounting to a hawkish position, of course, on the border and on illegal immigration. But it would also look after preserving the national identity of the United States, manifest in the form of greater screening requirements for legal immigrants that screen not just for their ability to make economic contributions, but also for their willingness and readiness to adopt and share American values during their time here, values that are enshrined in the U.S. Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. That necessarily means heightened civics exams, not just for citizenship, but even for green cards and other forms of entry. Necessarily means the elimination of dual citizenship as a category altogether, the idea that you could pledge allegiance to two nations at once. It necessarily means, in my opinion, the adoption of English as the national language of the United States. A nation founded on ideals can't exist if you can't communicate those ideals to one another. And it further means ending birthright citizenship for the kids of illegals in this country, because an important part of the American national identity is that we believe in the rule of law. That is who we are as Americans. For similar reasons, I actually, by the way, just going on an aside here, I don't know if all of you will agree with this or not, but I actually favor civics exams, the same ones that we require of immigrants before they're able to vote in this country. I actually favor the implementation of civics exams for every high school senior who graduates from high school before they're able to cast a vote as well, because if we require it of immigrants, we should require it of ourselves. I think our lack of a shared national identity in the United States is one of the greatest threats to the continued existence of our republic. This republic was founded not on a common genetic lineage, not a common ethnicity, not a common religion even, but a shared set of civic ideals that brought together a religiously divided, diverse group of people 250 years ago. And if you believe, as I do, that these common ideals are essential to our national revival, then it should inform not just our immigration policy, but what we expect of our own citizens as well. So to a national libertarian, and I think I'm blowing my cover here, but that's the camp I fall in, the top objectives here of U.S. immigration policy are to protect U.S. national security, to preserve U.S. national identity, and to promote U.S. economic growth in that order. That's different from the myopic neoliberal worldview of yesterday, which promoted economic growth at all cost, even at the expense of national security and even at the expense of national identity. But it is also different from the national protectionist view, who I believe myopically promote American wage growth, worker wage growth, even at the expense of these other important national objectives. In the national libertarian view, immigration policy should not be labor policy, certainly not just labor policy. And on this view, the quality of immigrants, both in terms of their allegiance to the United States of America and their ability to make contributions to the United States of America, matters far more than the quantity of immigration. With more stringent screening of those immigrants for loyalty, for civic knowledge, confirmation of their ability to make contributions, there would almost certainly be fewer, far fewer immigrants entering the United States by reducing chain migration, asylum seekers, and refugees. But I think that's the right way to, in a principled way, achieve that objective rather than arbitrary and I believe sloppy numerical caps on the numbers of immigrants that enter on a given year. So here's the bottom line on immigration policy. Entering the United States of America is not a right, it is a privilege. And with that privilege comes a duty to this country. Immigration policy is summarized for me in three simple maxims. No migration without consent. Consent should only be granted to migrants who benefit America and who share American national values, and migrants who enter unlawfully without consent must be removed. It's that simple on immigration policy. But we have to be tethered to the first principles for actually carrying it out. And that means we're going to have to turn most immigrants away. I mean, the reality is the Center for Immigration Studies actually put these numbers out. So approximately 700 million people would enter the United States today if we actually did have open borders. So the reality is the overwhelming majority of immigrants are going to have to be turned away, but it won't be because domestic labor unions are afraid of foreign competition. It'll be because we have national boundaries and a national identity and a rule of law to preserve in the United States of America. And I think it's worth seeing the difference between those two justifications, even if they get us to, if not the exact same place, to mostly the same place in the end.
So what about Canada? Are we just an economic zone? We're hearing rhetoric like that. We're hearing Kevin O'Leary talking about going down to Mar-a-Lago to convince Donald Trump that we should just become part of an economic union with the United States in response to his comments about Canada just becoming the 51st state. Does Canada not have its own unique qualities? Does Canada not have its own borders? Are we not a nation state bound together by something that unifies us? A diverse nation? I've said for a long time, diversity is not our strength. Diversity is our challenge. But Canada is a country. I just picked up on some of the language he was using, and it makes me wonder why the United States is worth preserving and why it's worth rediscovering their national identity when Canada is in very much the same situation, but still a sovereign nation state unto itself, and I think deserving of respect. We're going to talk a little bit more about all of that as we move forward, but the immigration issue is front and center at the moment in this program tonight, and a lot of people triggered by these comments about immigration. Oh, yes. So we have Musk and we have Ramaswamey, both of them posting on social media. And as I say, this fight really began brewing ahead of Christmas. And that's when Trump named venture capitalist Sriram Krishan to a top artificial intelligence policy post. And that set off a racially charged backlash that brought to the surface Krishnan's comments advocating for green cards for skilled workers. And then that escalated even more yesterday when Ramaswamey posted on X or Twitter and made the comments about American culture, which he said venerated mediocrity over excellence. And then we got the Nikki Haley response to that. And then Elon Musk, who is also part of the, I guess, now the co-leader, if you will, of the incoming Department of Government Efficiency, also posted on X yesterday in response to a tweet about a shortage of skilled workers in Silicon Valley that, in Musk's own words, he says the number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the USA is far too low. Of course, Musk, he's practically the president-elect because he's glued to the hip with Trump. All it cost him was like $272 or maybe $277 million to get into the White House. Can't be elected president because he was born in South Africa, also went to school when he was younger in Canada, now living in the United States, one of the world's richest people. Anyway, in his Twitter post, he urged people to think of the situation. He says, think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. That enables the whole team to win, he says. And I think there might be some real validity to what he's saying, but not everybody's happy about it. Because a lot of people just want a lot of deportation, right? So you're getting posts like this. Or in this post, this guy says, "I can't believe Trump is betraying us." And then he says, that's a quote like as though somebody is upset about finding out that Trump actually is going to allow for as much legal immigration, or maybe even more. And then the post goes on. He says, "Excuse my language. I'm just giving it to you straight." He says, "Then you weren't fucking listening." Okay, well, let's listen. This is Trump. And yeah, if you were listening, he kept saying he's not in favor of illegal immigration. People who are here illegally maybe have to be deported, but people who are coming in legally, he wants more of that.
We're going to bring it back economically. We're going to bring back the strongest borders in the world, and we're going to let a lot of people come in. Mike, we're going to let a lot of people come in, and they just have to come in legally, right? They have to come in legally.
And there it is. He also has said that he is in favor of letting anybody that goes to a college or university and graduates with a degree, that they should instantly be given a green card and should be allowed to stay in the United States. Because, of course, they are now skilled workers. He says that leads to more innovation. He says a lot of people who are attending school in the United States and then graduate from colleges, universities with degrees or diplomas end up leaving the country, going back to places like Pakistan, China, just wherever, whatever country they come from. And then they take that knowledge, that training, that education with them. It's like a brain drain. And it makes a lot of sense, actually. If someone is educated here, if they have the skills, if they want to start a business or work for a company and apply those skills to increase productivity and become productive members of society, of the country, why the heck not? If it helps the country grow, if it improves everything for everyone and the communities that they live in, yeah, so that's where Trump is at on that. But again, it's setting off a firestorm of controversy within, some infighting. It's a family feud. It's a family feud. Somebody who feuded a lot with Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, his former lawyer, who does this online podcast, a couple of different, actually, podcasts, live streams. He's on this program with, I think this guy's like his co-host or whatever, Ben Masalis. And Masalis is like, I think he's sort of, well, just listen to him, because he kind of highlights the whole reason for this internal meltdown in the MAGA movement. Yeah, and I don't know. At this point, at this juncture, what's going on with all of this really doesn't surprise me that much at all, because actually this is kind of consistent. It is. But the expectation, I'm not surprised there is backlash, because I also know what the expectations were for some people who had a particular perspective on immigration. And they're so disappointed.
Wow, Michael Cohen. Could you imagine if any Democrat ever said something like that? And by the way, Mr. Accordion Hands, Donald Trump, ran his entire campaign on, we're going to do it on day one. All these jobs are going to be made in America. Yeah. And now we don't like the globalists and this. Now what they're saying is, the tech bros, we need immigrants in our sector, in tech. Now, we don't want those other kind of immigrants in hospitality, in construction, and in agriculture. We need this for us. We need to go foreign over American. It's exactly the opposite of what his message was, and these are the people leading it.
Yeah.
Wow, Michael Cohen, could you?
What do you guys think? I'm just going to look in the chat here briefly, see what we're getting. Sandy, right on, Sir Rick, she says. Thank you, Sandy. Great to see you in the chat tonight. And Tinfoil Hat says, Roxham Road is not immigration, Rick. Okay. And Brian, hello. And he said, where would Musk be without all those special HB1 immigration visas? It's true. It's absolutely true. I'll tell you, you know, as much as we like to think that we're on the cutting edge of technology and we have all this computer and digital expertise here in the United States and Canada, the reality is a lot of countries like Pakistan, India, Ukraine, just a lot of even poorer countries have really gone to great lengths to train people, educate people in IT, in computer technology. And so over the past decade, even 20 years, they've managed to lift a lot of their people up economically into a much better place. And they're doing work all over the world, even from their home countries, remotely. And that's the new reality. When it comes to tech jobs, IT tech jobs, a lot of this stuff crosses borders whether people like it or not. A lot of these people can pick up work and do work from other countries inside the United States and Canada, from other countries remotely. It's done every single day on freelance basis, on contract basis. You have call centers where work is outsourced because it's all digital. It's all over wires and no HB1 visa required, no green card required. It's happening every single day. So immigration, no immigration, the competition for jobs is there. The result of that has been a real downward pressure on wages within the tech sector anyway. That's because there's worldwide competition for a lot of online jobs. And where personal one-on-one contact with say, clients for a digitally based company working in IT services or even call centers or whatever, if they don't need face-to-face contact with customers, clients, they can hire people remotely. So like it or not, that competition for those jobs is already there. Of course, in the tech sector, I think what they're talking about, especially with Musk and Ramaswamey, they're talking about people who really need to be in the country. But even so, you know, a lot of that stuff can still be done from overseas, and people are not even aware that that is really what's going on behind the scenes. Raises a whole lot of other issues, though, doesn't it? It certainly does. And as you can see, people not happy about it. Some, you know, it's just the way it is. So Alex Jones is also, not surprisingly, coming to the defense of Elon Musk, saying, oh no, Musk has been very consistent on this all the way through. And in a way he has been, but you know as well as I do that during the campaign, all the rhetoric about immigration, deportations, illegal immigrants coming in and committing crimes, all of that rhetoric was really ramped up because they knew that it was one of the two major issues of the campaign. The two issues were the economy and immigration. Those were the two hot button issues. That's the stuff that really propelled Trump forward, because on both of those issues, Kamala Harris underperformed with voters, especially on the issue of immigration. Trump focused on people's concerns, exploited, I would say even, or at least tapped into the fears people have about increased immigration for reasons of safety and economic security, even national security, and we're still getting that even now, aren't we? Yes, we are, because Trump is still playing on those fears when it comes to Canada-U.S. relations, U.S. and Mexico relations, the border security. We need to tighten up that border. You tighten up that border, Justin Trudeau, or we'll slap a 25% tariff on you because Canada's borders are not secure. It's a constant flow of drugs, a constant flow of immigrants, migrants who are dangerous to the United States, terrorist concerns. Tighten up that border, JT. Tighten it up, Governor Trudeau. It's all about immigration, or at least that's what he's predicating a lot of this stuff on. Oh yeah, and here's Alex Jones saying, well, it's actually, if you really listened to him before, Elon Musk, he's always been in favor of more immigration.
It is a classic American policy to brain drain the best from across the planet and bring them here. Musk has always advocated for this policy. Everyone bitching that Elon Musk has flip-flopped or either ignorant or lying. Elon, to a great extent, is the poster child for this program working. And Elon then responded by, here it is right here, saying exactly. So that's been his policy. He said it needs to be reformed. Trump has said it needs to be reformed and abused. And I have Trump's statement from 2016 on that. We have videos of him saying that. And so this is people splitting hairs.
Yeah. So now people are upset. Their heads are blowing up on the MAGA side. Really? Like, were you not listening? Like, yeah. I get it, though. People are like, no, you're supposed to get rid of all those people that we don't like. Yeah, I said, what's this going to, remember, or do you remember, I sat here and I said, deportations, what's this going to look like? And I still wonder what this would look like. He's still talking about deportations on day one. Everything's going to happen the first day. He just needs 1 day. 1 day in office. He'll fix all the problems on day one, and then he can just retire. He just turn everything over to J.D. Vance and go on vacation, I guess. Anyway, going to solve the immigration problem on day one. Going to solve everything on day one. But I stand by my statement about how Trump really pushed the fear button during the campaign. He absolutely did. It was blown out of proportion in many respects, and he scored a lot of points, got himself some votes because he got people upset. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Did too. Oh, no? Oh, yes, he did. Remember this?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
And this is what's happening in our country. They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I am the president. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
There has been a problem with immigration. Don't get me wrong. We have a housing crisis in Canada. We're bringing in people faster than we can build homes for people. We have social welfare issues because we're bringing in people faster than we can grow the services to service people, to serve people through with health care and even education. A lot of issues that we have to grapple with. So no question, we have some problems. And yes, we also have problems on the immigration front because we do need to vet people more carefully. We do have terrorists who are sneaking into the country. These are serious and true issues. But at the same time, yeah, he's a politician. Of course he was pushing emotional buttons to get people to vote for him. And he was using that issue to score political points. Duh, of course. Goes without saying. And then people are like, oh, wait a minute. You mean he's still going to have immigration? Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely, you're going to have some freaking immigration. In Canada, of course, we have some politicians like Maxime Bernier with the PPC. I think he's calling for an immigration moratorium until things kind of stabilize more and we get the housing situation under control. But we also have Elon Musk. Let's just show you. Here we go. Here's this tweet. I still call them tweets. If the thing is called X, is it a tweet anymore? Or is it just an X post? I don't know what you call them now. Somebody help me out on that, will you? So here's Elon saying, we should greatly increase legal immigration of anyone who is hardworking, honest, and loves America. Every such person is an asset to the country, but massive illegal immigration of people we know nothing about is insane. I think that's all valid. And I think that's fairly consistent as well. And when I think about it, what kind of people do you want in your country? Do you want somebody, somebody mentioned this to me the other day, and I still remember this. Let me just see if I can find you a picture. Remember the people who were coming over from like Cuba to get to the United States via Florida, and they converted, this is it here. Yeah, they converted this truck into a boat so they could get to America. This was a long time ago. This was, here it is here. Do I have it up for you? Yeah. There it is there. Let me get you the action. Let me get the old news story up here. You know, when I think about people who go to this length, to this extreme to get to the United States, I'm kind of like, yeah, if you really want to be here that bad, you're probably good people, and you'd probably make great Americans, or Canadians for that matter. It says your truck sailing Cubans finally reach the U.S. This was in 2005. God, I'm getting old. I'm going back in time. Does anybody else remember this? They took that old truck and they came across on that. A Cuban family that twice tried to reach Florida with vehicles converted into boats has made it to Miami, this time coming overland via Mexico from Costa Rica, the family's lawyer said. Luis Gras, his wife Isidora Hernandez, and their 5-year-old son Angel Luis Gracia Hernandez entered the United States through the Texas-Mexico border on March 12th. They were held in custody in Brownsville, Texas, until Sunday. They traveled to Miami on Monday after being released on parole for humanitarian reasons. They will be allowed to apply for permanent residence in 2006. So they're there illegally, but my God, if you're going to do that because you want the American dream, you think those people wouldn't work for it? The Grass family's voyage to America began in 2003 when they and others tried to cross the Florida Straits aboard a bright green 1951 Chevy pickup, which Luis Grass had converted into a boat. They were intercepted by the Coast Guard and sent back to Cuba. Oh. The Coast Guard then sank the Chevy boat. Oh. They should have put it in a museum. Under U.S. immigration policy, Cubans who reach U.S. shores generally are allowed to stay, while those caught at sea are usually returned. Second attempt with a Buick-powered boat. In February 2004, Grass made a second attempt to get to the United States illegally, this time aboard a floating Buick sedan powering another homemade boat. Again, they were intercepted. This time, the Grass family was taken to the U.S. Naval Base in Guantanamo, and the other would-be migrants aboard the Buick were returned to Cuba. The Buick has sunk, or was sunk again. They keep blowing this guy's car boats out of the water. If you had to make a choice between the frustration of living in Cuba and the fear of dying at sea, he chose dying at sea, said Wilfredo Allen, the Grass's family lawyer. After interviews showed that the Grass family had a credible fear of persecution if they were sent home, the United States held them at Guantanamo until a third country, in this case Costa Rica, agreed to grant safe haven. Bus rides hitchhiking from Costa Rica to Texas. The family lived in Costa Rica until last month, making their way to Mexico and to Texas by bus and hitchhiking. Allen said the Grass family will begin the process of legalization, and Lewis will apply for a work permit. Allen said Grass's greatest frustration was that he was stuck at sea and he was not able to land in Miami and drive up on the beach. I wonder what has happened to them since. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know about you, man, but I want those guys on my team. All right? They don't give up. Wow. Yeah. You could come to Canada. We'll take you. I'll sponsor you. Well, there. Yeah. We'll take you. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Okay, let me take a little break. I'm going to see if I can find out what happened to that family.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are two iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, so I just found out. So after arriving in the U.S., Louis Grass found employment as a mechanic at Maroon Chevrolet in Miami, and his wife Izora worked at a deli. Their son Angel was young at the time, but they settled into life in the U.S. They became part of the Cuban exile community in Miami, which was known for its tight-knit support network. And there you have it. And as the saying goes, the rest is history. So they made it. And they're living the American dream. There you go. What else we got? So, immigration, migration. It's an immigration nation. And It's a nationwide divide. Tonight, the governor of Colorado weighing in on this on CNN, and he is backing up Elon Musk. Here he is, recorded and in person on CNN.
Look, and we have world-class universities here, University of Colorado at Boulder, Colorado State University. Students from across the world come here. And one of the stupidest things we do as a nation is when they get their degree or their graduate degree, it could be a PhD in physics and engineering, we literally say you're not allowed to work in this country. You have to go somewhere else. And guess what? In a global economy, the jobs follow them. Back to India, back to China. It hurts our economy, hurts job creation. And it's one of the dumbest things that we do. Look, as a governor, as a state, we don't control immigration. But all I can do is encourage people like Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, the business community, to speak up and say, look, immigrants are an important part of our economy. And of course, if President-elect Trump wants to go after criminals, whether they were born here or whether they were born in another country, the state of Colorado will help them do that. And if there's criminals in our state, and there are, they were born in another country, we want to apprehend, deport them, and hold them accountable for the law. At the same time, so many immigrants contribute so much to our economy, whether it's keeping groceries affordable, keeping homes affordable, or helping to start tomorrow's great company that could employ tens of thousands of Americans with good paying jobs.
So I still don't quite see how all the deportations are going to work. Don't know. But I don't think it's going to be as horrific as I was afraid of before, with, you know, massive numbers of troops of dressed in riot gear or military garb chasing people down the street, rounding folks up and throwing them into the back of trucks to take them off to concentration camps or some horrific thing. I'm not getting the sense now maybe that will be what happens. I hope it doesn't come down to that. Now, if you have bad dudes who are hurting people and they're illegal, whatever, yeah, if they're lawbreakers, then yeah, fine. But if you've got productive people, you know what I'm saying. This has to be done properly and fairly, justly, and following the rule of law. And I hope ethically, morally. And as I say, it's all been about immigration, border security, and this is all looping around, coming back into all of this talk about the tariffs, the threats of tariffs, the 51st state, Canada becoming the 51st state. It's all related. It's all border stuff, immigration stuff. And Canada is wrestling with the whole immigration issue itself. In fact, here's Canada's Minister of Immigration talking exactly about this issue as it relates to Canada. And people in the US of A, you should be taking note of what this man is saying. Do we have it? Here we go. Too many things to click. Here we go.
I mean, look, there's a lot of conversations with different competing policy priorities. You have industries in low-skilled labor, whether it's big box shops or others, looking for cheap labor and wanting to make sure that they maintain a 40-hour work week for some of the students. That's the competing policy with the labor gap that we face in this country, and we need those people working. And why not, if they're paying a whole heck of a lot of money to come to Canada to study more than a domestic student? Why would we deny them that right? So some competing issues there that we need to really tackle with, knowing that the notion of having international students is not necessarily and does not guarantee a pathway to permanent residency and citizenship, but in the context of labor demands that are really leaning heavily on these people, and sometimes in really skilled areas like healthcare, construction. Some of the people I saw at Sheridan College this weekend are people that will want their postgraduate work permits more better aligned to the needs of industry. The postgraduate work permit program is not something that's been reviewed really in a decade. That's why I was cautious in my announcement, because the work is ongoing, but making sure we're aligning the ability of someone to live and study in this country, to the needs of the employment industry in Canada is something that needs some reform and a closer look at. Obviously, juggling sometimes competing policy needs. That's over and above the discussions on the integrity of the system and fraud that we were tackling first and foremost, and then the role of the provinces to kind of fix a problem that has been nothing but growing in the last few years.
Yeah, and he's talking there about a number of different immigration issues, including organizations or even companies that are formed on under the banner, I guess, of immigration assistance and guidance, when in fact they're really set up to kind of take advantage of people who are trying to get into the country, and they extract a lot of money and don't actually provide proper services, and there are issues of fraud there. That's the fraud, I think, that he was actually speaking of. But Canada is looking at immigration reform, obviously. Within the last couple of months, the Trudeau Liberals have flipped their position on immigration, and they've actually said they're going to dial it back, trim back the numbers substantially on the number of people being allowed into the country. A lot of people don't believe them, of course, because every year with the announced projections for the number of people that would be allowed into the country, the Trudeau Liberals have exceeded those numbers since being in office, and we've had record levels of immigration during the 9 years of Justin Trudeau's reign of error over Canada, never really hitting the targets that he spelled out for people, always exceeding them, always bringing in more, substantially more than we were told would be allowed into the country. And as a result, we're seeing upward pressure on housing prices to the point where housing prices have doubled. In fact, we've experienced all kinds of inflation. And that's a combination of too much money printing and increased demand, which is the result of increased population for a wide range of goods and services. Now, that's filtering through in a variety of ways, impacting us socially, economically, culturally, and even just affecting people day to day to day. Even over the Christmas holidays, we've seen, international issues coming home here to Canada through new Canadians, and not just new Canadians. I would say a lot of these pro-Palestinian protests that we're seeing with people wearing masks, a lot of the people behind those masks, they look a lot like me when it comes to their skin color. And a lot of them are young. A lot of them are political activists. A lot of them are not Palestinian, but they are, I would say, neoliberal fascists, radicals in a variety of ways. They're the usual suspects. I'll put it that way. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. They kind of go out and protest all of those things on that side of the political equation. These are the people that you'll find at the Occupy protests, a lot of other, I would say, communist, even sometimes fascist rallies, whatever. That's who they are. And you've got a lot of Palestinian people there too, but people are not sure what to do with some of this stuff, me included. Honestly, I just kind of want to go about my business, and I don't want my access to public places restricted by groups of people who are clearly in violation of various laws when it comes to peaceful protest and so on. I'm all for protesting, but it's got to be peaceful. It's got to be lawful. This is Montreal. I think this is this weekend. Yeah, this is a post from Brian Lilly. He says, "This is Montreal today." This was a post from 22 hours ago. And this is what it looked like in Montreal. Yeah. So the face of Canada certainly has changed, and quickly, especially over the last 10 years. Substantially. The demographics, major shift. A major shift. I see it even in my small community here in southern Ontario, Canada. So let me take a little break. I'll be right back.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are Mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And Dragon is on the line direct from Montreal. And of course, Dragon, you just saw the clip that I ran out of Montreal, and you have, I mean, you're right there. You're on the ground. What did you see? What do you know?
Well, what I know from that is actually they were doing those protests for the Boxing Days, basically to disrupt and to make sure that people, have a difficult time into their, shopping and stuff. So basically they were being disrupted as always. And this was in Square Phillips, actually, where the footage comes from. So that's where they were at yesterday. It's on the Instagram of the PYM, so you can see that in those in this description. So
yeah.
For you that doesn't know, is Palestinian Youth Montreal or Palestinian Youth Movement. So if you look into that on Instagram or X, you can see basically where they're going to be at next time.
Yeah. And, what we're really experiencing here is, I've been telling people for a long time, I call it convergence, but it's a merging of the extreme left and the extreme right coming together. And it isn't just about the Palestinian issue, as you so rightly observed, I think, yesterday during Boxing Day. These are extreme socialists who are out there protesting capitalism. They're out there protesting the West. They hate America. They hate Canada. They hate the West. They hate everything that we really are, that our society is based on, because they see us as an imperialist, colonialist, oppressive society, and they're out to tear it all down. And they think that by tearing it down, they're saving the country, right? And that's what they're doing.
An idea. Sorry to cut you off, but just to give you an idea and to give point to what you just said, if you look into my X, I have posted something the other day. It's a guy on X called Leviathan, so Leviathan. THAN. So this guy basically is ramping on, it was on the 19th of December, if I'm not mistaken. This guy comes on X and basically calling against our race, against us, basically calling us the how they called it, master race and stuff like that. Said like, F your Christmas, F your race, F your freedom of speech, F your freedom of thought, and so on. So this kind of guy is pretty dangerous, I think. And it's a guy that is come from Toronto. And if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of October, when I was doing the reporting, I came across this guy, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, this is the clip here. I'm going to run this one. You won't be able to hear it because you're on the phone with me, but I'm going to run this again because somebody mentioned this to me again today. I didn't prompt them. This just came up in a phone conversation with somebody, a regular viewer, part of our community here, and this really concerns them. I don't like this either. This is the incident out in British Columbia where you have these protesters who are really, they're literally chanting death to Canada.
Do not wonder how revolution could possibly be done.
Hang on just a second, I'm running it.
Men who have never known a free day, who have lived their entire lives under the thumb of one of the most powerful settler colonies in the world, built paragliders to fly over a wall so high that it blocked out the sun when you stood underneath it. Do not wonder how revolution can be done. We must do it.
The revolution.
Death to Canada. Death to the United States. And death to Israel.
Yeah, right. So there it is again. Death to Canada, death to the United States, death to Israel. Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me.
Back to Leviathan, he said at some point, there's no bomb that's going to stop us. You don't have enough ammo for us, kind of thing. Or even say like, what were you saying? Oh yeah, we're coming for you guys. You know, those kind of words. I mean, you're in our country. Okay, we basically invite you to have a better life, and this is how you kind of, you know, give us your appreciation for. I'm sorry, but you gotta go.
Yeah, I don't want I'm just not into that. No.
No, me neither.
No, it's just I don't want violence here. I don't want my country to die. We have some problems. I think we can fix them. I don't think we're to blame for everything. It's that the world, not all of the world's problems are our fault. We get blamed for everything. We have so much self-flagellation, self-loathing going on out there. And this young lady standing on the steps of that library out in BC.
No, this is truly unacceptable.
Yeah, this was in Vancouver. Yeah. And how long ago was that now? That was back in October. Yeah. I mean,
I think it was on 7th of October.
Yeah, well, it was after that. This was, yeah, it was actually posted the day after. Yep. The very next day, October 8th. That's what the post date is on.
So that's where they have, you know, posted a day after they were doing it, because that's the way they do here also. If you look into their post in Montreal or the PYM, most of the posts that is say on Sundays or after, you always gonna see like the day after a protest. That's the day after they going to upload all their thing and edit everything and make the beautiful music background stuff, you know, just to make it look like we're doing something interesting here. Yeah, well, not so much, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, I'm all good for them if they come around, protest, legally doing things non-disruptive and not calling for violence or terrorism groups on certain platform and stuff. You know, this is unacceptable, and this is where I call myself, well, I will call that myself terrorism in our country, and this is pretty harsh word to say, I think.
Well, they were literally on the steps of the library in Vancouver the very day after the October 7th attacks on Israel, and they were calling for a revolution here in Canada, calling for a revolution, and then saying death to Canada, death to the United States, death to Israel. But we've covered that before, and this all ties into the immigration issue, and the border security concerns, the concerns on the U.S. side about terrorism, the concerns about locking things down, and now we've got the 25% tariffs. We've got the talk about the 51st state. It's all interconnected, 100%. Anyway, final thought there, Dragon?
Well, stay positive because 2025 is coming, and I think that this year is going to be interesting, I hope. So I will stay on the field and do my stuff, as always.
Okay. Dragon, direct and live on the phone from Montreal.
See you on the flip side, guys.
All right. Happy Christmas season, since Christmas is past, and happy almost New Year's. So.
And the same wishes to all of you guys and to you, Rick and family.
All right. Love you, man. See ya.
See ya.
Bye. All right. Let's take another quick break. We'll come back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Yeah, I'm just looking in the chat there, and I see, who was saying that this is Jen 853 in Rumble says that was actually the Vancouver Art Gallery, not the library. That could be. I haven't been into Vancouver in many years. So maybe that is the art gallery, not the library. Although the posts that I've seen online say it's the library. Maybe both facilities. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, Jen goes on and says, if someone says that they went to UBC, run the other way. Some sort of rivalry thing going on there between schools, I guess. What else is going on over here in the chat? UBC would be University of British Columbia. For our American friends and viewers and family members. Anything else in the Rumble chat tonight? That's about it over there for the moment. It's related to what we're talking about anyway. Let me see. Going back into the chat over here on YouTube. Cheesy says, big bunch of Roman Marxists. I have no idea what that even is referring to. Just overall. And Cheesy also says, It is so over. Nobody is falling for the stupid Luigi and Brian down by the hoax yard hoax, and everybody figuring it out pretty fast that nobody said that the UAPs are not NATO. I think we're talking about the drones and the UFO stuff now. And Fat Laba says Rick still hasn't read the Snowden files. Which ones? And Sandy, Sandy's on my team tonight. She says, you rock, Rick. Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go back to other stuff, because all of this is affecting Mexico, Canada, Panama because of the threats to take over the Panama Canal again by Trump, and Greenland, of course. Now here's the former Trump ambassador to Denmark on the issue of Greenland. And I have to say, is this woman like trying to piss people off? Or is she just like naturally good at it? I don't know if she understands. Let me just give her a little piece of advice, okay? This will not help you with Denmark or the people in Greenland at all. It's not. This is not good language. No, this is not. This is not very diplomatic. Listen to this.
The idea that little Denmark, which can't even defend its own territory, the small country of Denmark, can defend Greenland is preposterous. So they can't afford to defend it, and they can't afford to develop it. There's no development. And so I think what President Trump is suggesting is a very common sense. He's the third U.S. president to make this proposal. It's a common sense solution to a thorny problem of what do you do with a giant territory that is not defendable and not developable by this small country, Denmark, and it's part of North America.
Actually, I do think the United States has a footprint on Greenland anyway. I'm pretty sure there is a military base there, which is part of NORAD, the missile defense, notification warning system. It's all up there. I don't think the United States needs to buy Greenland. I don't think the United States, whatever. At least he's offering to buy it. He isn't, he's not threatening to invade. And so far, he hasn't threatened to invade Canada either. I've seen some social media streamers out there. I think it's like clickbait, but they're saying, Trump is going to invade Canada and it's all Justin Trudeau's fault. Well, that'll build your YouTube channel, but I don't think it hasn't quite escalated to that point. Not quite. Not saying it won't. I'm a little bit worried, maybe a lot worried, but it hasn't quite reached that point yet. So I know. Everybody now, because I said I'll defend the country with my hockey stick. Okay? You don't have to get your hockey sticks out yet. I'll let you know when it's game time. All right? And then everybody can go gear up, get your hockey helmets on, get your hockey sticks, get your canoes. Yeah, and I saw somebody in the chat the other night too when I made the hockey stick reference, and of course they were criticizing me, accusing me of calling for violence or something. No. It's a meme, kind of a joke thing. It's just to illustrate that we in Canada wouldn't stand a chance against the U.S. military. We're just not big enough. We don't have any firepower because our military basically consists of a bunch of people, with hockey helmets, hockey sticks, and a few, maybe a couple of canoes. We can't afford the paddles. So we'll be up the creek without a paddle, just a hockey stick or two. And we'll be trying to paddle with the hockey sticks, and we'll be up against against Lieutenant Steve Rogers leading the charge over the horizon with Jackson Hinkle pulling up the rear or something. I don't know, man. And, you know, of course, if Jackson Hinkle shows up, he'll bring the Russian army. Will be duly invaded because he ain't no friend of America. Mr. Russia himself. Yeah. The Patriot. Whatever. Oh, wake the hell up, folks. That's all I can say. You got one eye open. Where's the other one? Open it up. Kevin O'Leary, you know, even this stuff here, I got to tell you, it's this stuff here with Kevin O'Leary is, I think, also something of a trial balloon. I don't think that Kevin O'Leary is talking about having Canada join the United States as part of an economic union just because he came up with the idea on his own. I think there's more to it. Listen to this again. I ran this the other night, but we should listen to it now.
There's 41 million Canadians, basically the population of California, sitting on the world's largest amounts of all resources, including the most important, energy and water. Canadians, over the holidays, the last 2 days, have been talking about this. They want to hear more. And so, you know, there's obviously a lot of issues, more details, but what this could be is the beginning of an economic union. Think about the power of combining the two economies, erasing the border between Canada and the United States, and putting all that resource up to the northern borders where China and Russia are knocking on the door. So secure that, give a common currency, figure out taxes across the board, get everything trading both ways, create a new, almost EU-like passport. I like this idea, and at least half of Canadians are interested. The problem is the government's collapsing in Canada right now. Nobody wants Trudeau to negotiate this deal. I don't want him doing it for me, so I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'll start the narrative. The 41 million Canadians, I think most of them would trust me on this deal.
Well, I can say that it's an interesting idea. I'm not entirely opposed to an economic union of some kind if it brings more prosperity to both Canada and the United States, as long as we get to preserve our sovereignty and it's our choice, and we remain a free country. I don't want to be coerced. I don't want to be taken over. I don't want Donald Trump imposing his will on us. I don't want anybody threatening us. There's no need. We're your friends up here. At least most of us are, except for maybe some of those crazy people who are, you know, out in the streets shouting anti-Canadian, anti-American, anti-Israel, death to chants. No, you know, we'll take care of those folks. We'll bring them around. John, is that you from out in Alberta?
I am, Ricky. Welcome. Merry Christmas from the 51st Republican state of the United States of America. It's Alberta. Merry Christmas from our Governor Daniel Smithy.
Oh, that reminds me, John, you know, if you're a politician, you just cannot win. You know, poor Danielle Smith. I have to say, she kind of took it on the chin for trying to do the right thing, I think, because here's a social media post, and this guy says, this is funny. Well, I don't know if it's funny. I have to say, I do feel a little bit for Danielle Smith. This is on Twitter, and this is some guy named Kent Clark. I guess that's Superman in reverse. Does that make him like the anti-Superman? Anyway, so Kent Clark says, as Donald Trump threatens to invade Canada and prepares to levy economy-destroying tariffs, Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta province, doesn't stand with Canada. Instead, she goes to his inauguration. Right? So she's been trying to be diplomatic. She sees the danger in these tariffs to Canada, and this guy is criticizing her because she's going down to Mar-a-Lago, but or down to the inauguration, rather, not to Mar-a-Lago. But I can't fault her for that. What do you think, John? Is Danielle Smith pro-Canada?
Well, Rick, and Merry Christmas from the 51st Republican state of Alberta, the newest republic county. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. What do you think?
And all joking aside, first off, Rick, may God bless you, Rick, and your family. You do God's work all the time, and people don't appreciate it. I do. And Merry Christmas to the Maverick News family worldwide around the world. I'm actually at a very special little place tonight called Matador Steak and Pizza in Northwest Calgary. The bartenders, the busboys, and the dishwashers. I got to give a big shout out, Rick. I was a dishwasher. We all love you guys around the world. We're all Canadians, right, Rick?
That's right. I was a dishwasher too, for a time.
Rick,
I was. We're part of the
a
dishwasher
busboy,
alumni.
Dishwasher? Wow, really?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're very underrated. I'm a multi-millionaire, and I was a dishwasher. I started out, yada bing, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, dishwashing, then a busboy, then a waiter, and Maverick News Pizza and Lounge in Northwest Calgary.
Okay.
Send a big hello out to the world. But I completely agree with Dragon. Completely on the money, my friend.
I agree with him on what? What?
Well,
he said a bunch of things. What do you agree with him on?
Being Canadian, we're all Canadian first.
Yes, we're Canadians, yeah. We're Canuckistanians.
And we got to fight for our veterans at Christmas.
Yep.
Veteran food banks. If you can serve your community for veterans or
you still haven't answered my question.
What's the question, my friend?
He didn't even listen to me.
I
did. What do you think of Danielle Smith going down to the inauguration? Is this guy on social media criticizes her and says that she's she says that Danielle Smith doesn't stand with Canada because she's going to the inauguration. Do you think that's fair?
She does, Rick. I love the approach of Doug Ford, hardcore, punch the orange orangutan in the face, double, triple punch. And then I like the Danielle Smith approach of come behind there and loves and kisses and kiss the ring. Yeah. I think they're two strategies. I think they're probably going to work really well. Look, here's the bottom line. Canada would not exist without the oil in Alberta. We got the third largest oil reserve in the world. Second to that, Ontario would not exist without manufacturing. And then we got the lumber in BC. I mean, we got to all be united. We have got, Rickster, the Maverick News family around the world. We live in probably, Rick, is Canada Rolls-Royce? It's beyond Rolls-Royce. It's Duesenberg. We live in the richest country in the world. God, and it all comes from God, from the good Lord above. God has blessed Canada with diamonds, oil, farmers,
and
farmland.
Those diamonds, they do shine, don't they? And that's but I'm seeing people post things like this telling Donald Trump to stick it where the sun don't shine. Here's this post that says, Canada, show your rump to Trump. Sorry, not sorry, eh? Yeah, see, there are some people who still value the country and want to preserve our sovereignty. I'm not sure how many of those people are what are self-described freedom fighters these days. It seems like a lot of the so-called freedom fighters I call them so-called right now because it seems like they're ready to give up the country without a shot being fired.
Well, Rick, I'm the grandson of a World War I veteran that fought in France for this country and got gas and mustard gas. And as much as I'm an Albertan, I'm a Canadian too, first and foremost. We got the most gorgeous, beautiful country in the world, and rich. That's why Mr. Trump, the orange orangutan, who I love to death, I'm a Trumpster, but he punched me in the face. You're going to get a hockey stick back there, Mr. Trump, at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't think we're going there for New Year's, Rick.
Well, I'm going to use my
Mar-a-Lago.
hockey stick.
I think we're off the west.
Yeah, I'm only going to use my hockey stick for defense. Okay, because I always, when I played hockey when I was younger, back when I was, very athletic, I played defense. And so if we get invaded, I'm going to be like twirling my stick and deflecting the bullets with the stick and protecting people with my stick and paddling my canoe. That's what I'm using my stick for.
Well, Rick, a final thought. May God bless the United States of America. In God we trust. But, a huge but, in God we trust in Canada, the greatest country in the world, free, you hear the toot in the background, free, fighting for freedom, and we led the world with our truckers. May God bless Canada, because, Rick, really, at the end of the day, when you really, really, really pissed off a Canadian, you're in deep shit, Rick.
Well, I just in closing with your call tonight, John, I'm just going to say I don't think Danielle Smith is a traitor, as Kent Clark says. I think she's doing her best to represent Alberta and Canada, and I think she wants what is best for Alberta and Canada. That's why she's going to the inauguration, to try to get a better deal, or get the best deal she can with the incoming Trump administration. She's not going down there because she's a traitor. I think Doug Ford, though, is taking a hard line. She's trying to be diplomatic. I think that's all that it is.
Rick, she's Danielle Smith. I love her to death. I supported her, voted for her. She's not kissing the ring. She's going down and representing Alberta, but also representing Canada in a position of strength.
Yeah.
Strength and diplomacy. And she's playing the diplomacy thing, and she's been working on this for 2 years now. We've secured the borders, southern Alberta with Montana, drones, more sheriffs, everything Trump asked her to do, she's done it. And I think she might be our new prime minister. I don't know, Ricky. Is it Pierre Poilievre or Danielle Smith? I don't know.
I don't know. Does she speak French?
I don't think so.
I think she's unilingual.
I think that's a big no. I think that's an end down. Sorry.
These days, it's pretty tough to get elected.
Sorry, Dragon. I love you guys in Quebec.
Yeah, pretty tough to get yourself into the PM's job if you are unilingual in this country these days. So, I suspect
but,
she's probably.
I think people forget Parliament. Justin Trudeau sits at the pleasure of the provinces. The provinces, whether you're from BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, Ontario, the federal government sits at the pleasure under constitutional law because of the provinces. So I think they're all going to go down. I love your Doug Ford. He is standing up for Ontario, and he needs to link in with Danielle Smith. And I think we're all going to be good to go. Really, really, truly. I'm proud of that.
Okay. Well, John, thank you for the call tonight. Always a pleasure and a privilege. Have a great night, my friend, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, and Rick, a final thought. Please don't drink and drive. Have a friend drive you home, the bartender at the bar. Don't drink and drive. Enjoy your Christmas cheer, but please keep our roads safe. Please keep our roads safe. And if you can volunteer at a food bank, do that for a veteran as well.
All right. Thank you, John. Have a great one.
Love you guys. Love you guys from Matador Steak and Pizza. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. I wonder if they're giving him a free meal for the plug. Probably not. What was that? Matador Steak and Pizza or whatever? Okay, I'm not out there. I've never been to the place, but I'm sure it's tasty. Got a good review from John tonight on the program. Yeah. So here's a former Republican candidate talking about, you know how Canada just rips off the U.S.? No. Yeah, we don't rip off the United States. The U.S. has a trade deficit with us. They do. There's a reason for that, and it's not $100 billion, like Trump says. It's actually around $41 billion when I checked. But That is because we have a lot of resources that the U.S. needs. It helps fuel the U.S. economy. And we don't rip off the U.S. It's just that we're much smaller. We're 1/10 of the size in terms of population. So we can't consume nearly as much as the U.S. does. And we have massive amounts of oil and uranium and nickel and all kinds of other commodities, things that we ship to the U.S. that they're purchased. Selling something as part of a mutually beneficial deal is not ripping somebody off, but that's the way it's still being laid out through the media in this ongoing discussion about Greenland, Panama Canal, and the possible annexation of Canada.
And President Trump is just standing up and leading. He made it very clear with Prime Minister Trudeau that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. billions of dollars every single year, then perhaps they should annex. He's simply making a point that status quo from our allies ripping off the American people will not happen anymore.
Oh, yeah, except that we're not ripping you off, all right? That's some crazy rhetoric, and I'm honestly getting just a teeny tiny bit upset listening to it because it's not true, not accurate. As a result, Mark Carney is pushing back. Let me see if I've got the post for you. Carney, of course, former Bank of Canada governor. I may have lost the post here. Yeah, let me get this queued up. When we get into the program here, we've got so much stuff going on. Hard to keep them all straight on the tabs. I'll be right. Yeah, so here it is. Here's Mark Carney's post. He says, this is carrying the joke too far. He says, the casual disrespect, the poor tax math, and ignoring the workers on both sides of our border will be better off if we work together. Time to call it out, stand up for Canada, and build a true North American partnership. Yeah, okay, I can get behind that. I don't care which party it comes from. Liberals, New Democrats, conservatives, the time has come and we need to stand together as a country to put a unified position forward to the incoming Trump administration as we begin to renegotiate the USMCA trade deal and address the whole issue of these potential massive, potentially damaging tariffs. And it's about time where we get some firm, but still friendly rhetoric back directed at Donald Trump himself, because he will respect that. Doesn't have to be insulting. You don't have to call him the orange orangutan. You don't have to say orange man dad. You just have to, have a little self-respect, show a little backbone, show that we are an actual nation state. Be a Canadian. Don't be a wuss. Trudeau himself, not saying a lot. I would say again, in my opinion, Trudeau's just falling way short again on this issue. I think that this post that we're seeing today from Mark Carney, who currently is one of Trudeau's main advisors, former Bank of Canada governor, smart guy. Also was the bank head of the Bank of England for a while. But back in the saddle in Canada, and Carney advising Trudeau. But I think that what we've seen here is Trudeau is allowing Carney to take the lead on targeting Trump so that he doesn't have to, so that he, being the prime minister, remains sort of arm's length from any volatile or critical comments, any kind of real pushback. He must be afraid of how Trump might retaliate if he says anything. Trump doesn't like Trudeau. Trudeau doesn't like Trump. They don't like each other. And so maybe that is the right thing for him to be doing, is just sit back, because he could potentially make things a whole lot worse. And even just the couple of little things that he has said sort of indirectly related to this, including the post yesterday where he provided a link to that Tom Brokaw Olympics video talking about what Canada's relationship with the United States has been like. And then prior to that, the speech about being a male feminist and he was not electing a female president again. Those things just right there. People were criticizing him for that stuff. So maybe it's the best thing for him just to remain quiet. Hang on a sec, I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Kitty joins us live on the show right now. Hello, welcome back.
Hey, Rick. It's Kitty Cat here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. I hope you've had a great holiday with your family and way too much food.
Oh, yes to both. Yeah, that's why I have tracksuits.
Good for you.
Yeah,
So,
they come in handy. They help. Oh, for sure. Merry Christmas, everybody.
so all of this talk about the 51st state, that must be why you're calling in tonight.
Oh, my God. Well, you brought up Smarmy Carney. Oh, my.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Trudeau letting anyone take the lead. Look, that boy can't read a compass. He can't read a map. He wouldn't know how to follow anybody. And he can't lead anyone except maybe down the toilet. That's about all he's good for. Holy shit. But yeah, the 51st. Oh, I said a nasty word on YouTube. I'm sorry. Oh, dear. But, yeah, the 51st state, I don't think he's serious. I think he's doing it because Trudeau's done nothing but poke at him for the past 2 years. Right?
Yes.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, Trump, he's, and I don't blame him. I could see him sitting there rubbing his hands in glee because he knows Trudeau doesn't have the kahunas to say anything back. He knows that Trudeau would just run and hide. But I can't understand why a lot of Canadians are like, oh, please bring it, because, Canadians have suffered. There's a difference between hard times and there's a difference between having basically a decade of, year after year suffering, serious suffering, nobody has escaped this. And human nature being what it is, I can see people going, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I want better for my kids. I want better for, especially young people.
you know, like I say, my older son, he's gone, you know. He saw the writing on the wall. He'll never own a house here. Now at least he has a chance, you know.
Yeah.
And he's in that age group. So he's 35, and you know, like I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
So it doesn't bother you that Trump is using this kind of language?
No. And the only reason why it doesn't is because half my family's American, right? My mom's sister married an American, so like half my cousins are American. My brother went down for work. Met someone, got married, he's American. When I was much younger, I used to, like, you remember the days where we go across the border and have lunch?
Yes.
Like pre-9/11, like you just need to show your
Driver's
birth
license.
certificate and whatever. You
Yeah.
go shopping, you come back, show your receipts, and off you go. And
Yep.
you know, it was to the point like it was like a normal thing,
Yeah.
and and it was great. But no, it doesn't bother me because I understand, you know, like where it's coming from, and having an American family, it's you know, I got some Canadian ones, but most of them are American, you know, born there, and I can see both sides of it. And Trump, you know, like you, and you were very good when you expressed how he made his money. He's a hard talker. People in New York, if you can't take a New Yorker, don't go there. Because I mean, you think people are blunt. Holy crap! Like down in New York, they're brash, they're loud, they're in your face. Especially business people, and like that's Trump, right? And as far as I'm concerned, like if Trump is actually serious about buying Canada, that would get my attention. But I really don't think he is.
Well, he didn't offer to buy it.
Oh, hey, you never know. You never know that's coming next. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if he was serious about us being the 51st state, you know, that would get my attention. But I think it's just a case of he sat there and he's like, now he can get the little bastards. I mean, that he knows the little boy up here. That would be Trudeau. Because he knows that, like, Trudeau doesn't have the spine to stand up to him. And he can just say what he likes, and he's been doing it every day. Like, I mean, every day is great. He started working on things before he's even in office.
Yeah, well, he's certainly been doing that. And this immigration issue has sent some people into an emotional tailspin. What do you make of the pushback on this immigration rift that has developed within the MAGA movement?
Well, when I think about the immigration, I think, just to backtrack, I think, like, when people say Trudeau screwed over Canada, like, that is the biggest understatement on the planet. You know, if I didn't know better, I would think that Trudeau was trying to wreck Canada before he leaves office. He has done so much damage in every possible way that you could possibly think of for decades. I mean, Rick, our grandkids are going to be paying for this crap. Like, this isn't going to go away. You know, for anyone that thinks, oh, with a new election, everything's going to go back to la-di-da. Oh, no. No. Just get that out of your head. Like, Trudeau is going to leave such a train wreck for Polis to even start mixing. It's going to take a good 2 decades minimum before things are, metaphorically speaking, where people can take a deep sigh of relief and go, oh, now I can plan to start buying a house, or now I can plan to... He's done such damage, and immigration, he did that on purpose. He knew what he was doing. He knew he was bringing in people that, to be blunt, have no business being here, you know what I'm saying? In reference the earlier video which you played, people like that do not belong in Canada, period. End of story. And it has not happened under any other prime minister except Trudeau. And as far as I'm concerned with Trump playing hardball like this with the immigration, with tariffs and everything. Sorry to say, but loosely speaking, Canada's got it coming because this is what Trudeau did.
So, to clarify that for me, Canada's got what coming?
People shouldn't be surprised that Trump is coming in playing hardball, going, okay, we're going to do, like there's this crap with the immigration, we got to stop the criminals coming over, which is true, because Trudeau has not done anything to strengthen border controls. He's done the opposite. He laid off what do you call them, the CDSA. He's cut back on security for people that come into the country. I mean, even just today I learned that the way people do it when they come to visit Canada from any other country, they come visit, then they go across the border to the States for a day, they have lunch, they come back and claim asylum. And Canada goes, okay, you're in. Now you're going to get money per month in this. I just discovered that today. I'm like, holy crap, no wonder we got such a problem. There is a ton of people that were supposed to have been sent home. Canada can't find them. It's a big number. I can't remember what it is, but I remember thinking, oh my God, how are they going to find all these people? Every day there are plane loads of people coming in to this country. Every day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're staying. It's appalling.
Yeah, well, right now I think that the number of people, was new Canadians each year under Trudeau has been the target has been around 500,000, and in some cases 1 million.
Yes.
He's always exceeded that. So in at least 1 year it was 500,000, I believe, and we ended up with 1 million new people coming into the country that
and
year.
we got thousands that they can't find them. Thousands upon thousands. I can't remember what the number is, but I remember thinking, oh my God.
I don't know what that means exactly. We can't find them. What do you mean?
People are supposed to go back home and they don't know where they are now.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I'd need specific information.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's just basically just a gathering of information from different, actual news sources. But, no, Trudeau is making Canadians pay for this. And that's why, I'm not surprised. Oh my gosh, the only thing is, Trump is taking office, what is it, the 20th or 21st?
Yeah, 21st, yeah.
Yeah, and the House isn't coming back till the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't today when Polis said that he's putting through a special motion to bring back Parliament to vote on a non-confidence by January the 6th?
Yes.
Yes.
So I was at that. This was actually on my list of stories to talk about tonight. So great segue. Thank you for that. Yes, the Conservatives have come forward. They are saying that they are aiming for a no confidence motion by the end of January. Conservative Member of Parliament Jonathan Williamson is going to get the ball rolling early in the new year with a no confidence vote. It could bring down Justin Trudeau's Liberal NDP coalition government. And so it's they're going to bring this forward through a committee, and then they're going to try to get the Governor General, I guess, to convene to have a non-confidence vote before the Christmas break is complete. So that could mean that we're going to go to the polls, but we'll see how successful they are with this. We've seen previous assertions like that from the Conservatives kind of fall short in the last month or so. I don't know if it will be successful or not, because I think the procedure they say they're going to be using is a little bit unorthodox. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a rarely used exception, and here's the thing. Singh released the letter, and of course, Polyev, he's not asleep with a switch. He probably jumped on that and ironed a cat in a hot tin for part of the fun. He's like, right, so you released a letter, an official letterhead. Wow, let's see how you deal with this now. Right?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that the Polyev and the conservatives, they want to get to the polls. They want an election as quickly as possible because in the opinion polls, they're so far out ahead, more than 20 points out front. If there were an election to be held today, again, still they would form a majority government, according to the polls, and would have the largest majority in Canadian history. They don't want to let that go to waste.
Super majority territory.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, like, Trudeau has literally made every Canadian pay for this. That's why I say, like, loosely speaking, not Canadians themselves, but Canada, which is Trudeau.
Yes.
You know, people cannot be surprised with Trump playing hardball because Trudeau is worse than a cactus. Like, he just...
Worse than a cactus?
Yes. Yeah, just imagine sitting in a cactus and picking out those quills. He's worse than a cactus. No, you don't want to do that. I did that once. I'll never do it again. That was an oopsie. But, no, Trudeau has really screwed over every Canadian. Like, we can't do much now except wait.
Mm-hmm.
Except I can tell you in conversation with people, and from what I've seen, it seems there's a shift. And I thought it was a little shift, but it seems like there's a bigger one now. Like, Canadians are truly fed up.
Oh,
like
they are. In fact, I'm going to run a clip right now, which you won't be able to hear because you're on the phone. So just let me pause you for a moment while I run this clip, because this shows just how upset some Canadians are. Justin Trudeau is out vacationing right now over the Christmas break in British Columbia, where there's lots of snow, and this Canadian went over to shake his hand. And just watch what happens as this Canadian out in BC greets the Prime Minister.
Mr. Prime Minister. Yeah. Please get the fuck out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, ma'am.
Yeah, you suck.
That's just, oh man. That's just, like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's so brutal now for him. You know, the pendulum has certainly swung the other way. There was a time when he was the media darling. People were in love with him. Everybody wanted, all the women were like just melting over his hair and his fancy socks. And, and now he can't go anywhere without being confronted like that. It's got to be a terrible way to live.
She appealed to his narcissism because calling him names, he keeps people are kept away. She's perfect, eh? Calling him nice and properly, shaking his hand, and then telling him to get the fuck out. That's great.
Okay. I don't know. It's just I have to say it's just it's sad though that our politics has come to that point in a way. I know people take great joy in it, and I still think he's the worst prime minister in Canadian history. His actions failed to unite the country at a time when it was really needed, when we needed real leadership. We need real leadership now, and I think he's still falling short as he's confronted with this challenge, and he's not rising to the occasion. So there you go. That's what happens in politics.
Yeah, but you know what? It spilled over into real life, and you know what I miss the most? I can sum it up in one word. Civility. I miss the days when you could have a disagreement with somebody and they didn't judge you upon that one. It was like you could agree to disagree and move on.
Yes.
Right? I miss the days where you know, as you're doing your shopping or your errands or popping in there to shops or whatever, and you would say good morning, good day, or whatever, and people didn't look at you like you were crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or like holding doors open for people.
Yes.
Like so many little different things. It seems like everybody looks at everybody else like they're the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And I miss the days of civility where, you know, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I want that back.
I miss the days when we could have Christmas and there was disagreement, maybe a little bit between family members, or maybe I was just living in a family where we didn't have great divides politically at the dinner table over Christmas, but it sure seems like now every family has internal political conflict, and it's terrible.
Yeah, like I actually chuckle, but actually it is very sad, you know. And, you know, that like they turn their back on you because like if you couldn't or wouldn't take the medicine, put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what party, you know. And of course I grew up in a time where you were told you never talk about sex, religion, or politics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
You know, that was for behind closed, that was for home. But God forbid we talked about outside. Now I see why. But I do see a shift. I do see a shift. Somebody said hi to me today. I damn near got whiplash because I realized they were talking to me. And that was the first time in a while. And today had a little political disagreement with a friend of mine, long-term friend. And for the first time, she was like, you know, okay, you know, I see your point. So, how's it going? And I'm like, what? Holy. You know, and then, like, there is a shift, especially, like, where I live. Like, where I live is great. Everybody's of one mind. Wait, we like freedom here.
Yeah.
So, I'm very lucky that way. But, I see more of a positive thing. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can't help thinking that part of that is because of Trump. Like, yes, I know he'll be the American president, but it's almost like it was a subliminal message of, see, things can get better. Like in general, like things are going to get better there. So it's almost like it was a subliminal kick in the ass to Canadians of like, hey, see, it can happen here too.
Well, you know, I appreciate your perspective on it. Charlie Angus, New Democrat MP, he has a different take. I'm going to run this clip, and again, you won't be able to hear this because you're on the phone, but I'll pause you for just a moment and share this clip from Charlie Angus, interviewed on the Midas Touch. There are a number of clips, but I'll run this one for you.
I thought he was punking. I thought it was people were pulling my chain. I'm at a Christmas gathering, and people are like, "Hey, did you see Donald Trump's telling us to go to hell and he's going to take us over?" And it's like, yeah, stop playing games. It's Christmas. Nobody's that mean and that vicious and stupid on Christmas Day. But whoa, I was wrong. There's Donald Trump, the man that so many evangelical people thought he was representing Jesus. That's how he spends Christmas Day. I felt I needed to respond because not only is he threatening us, but he's telling us how great it would be. I'm sorry, Donald. You know, you got a country. In our country, we believe that healthcare should be accessible to all, and that assault weapons should not. And you don't have the same viewpoint at all. We got 48,000 gun deaths in the United States last year. We had 289 in Canada. And we got a lot of registered gun owners. I'm a registered gun owner. We don't want what you're selling, Donald. I thought he...
So, yeah, I mean, and I don't agree with Mr. Angus on a lot of issues. He's a New Democrat. I'm more of a classic conservative, okay? But I have to take my hat off to him. I like it. We need people, we need leaders who can stand up effectively against this challenge from the President of the United States, in the view of many, the most powerful man in the world. And I have to say, Kitty, that to me, it's irresponsible for Donald Trump as the president-elect of the United States of America to use that kind of language, that kind of rhetoric, and direct it toward Canada. A next-door neighbor, a long-time ally, a friendly nation, biggest trading partner. We're practically related. We literally were created out of, cut from the same cloth, essentially, right? And there he is talking like that to us. And as much as he might not like Trudeau, and Trudeau might not like him, and they might not get along together, it's just not appropriate. But it's Donald Trump, I guess. It's to me very disappointing, very disappointing, and I don't think there's any need for it.
Yeah, but I think, you know what, we've gotten, we as a Canadian society have gotten so used to harsh treatment, harsh words, not only from our politicians here, but from even our neighbors, our friends, our family members, that stuff that normally would trigger alarm bells just kind of washes off her back now, like me. I look upon it at the moment as bluster, as well as just Trump bouncing off again, just having his fun with Trudeau because he's had to sit back and say nothing when Trudeau's been going at him for 2 years.
Well,
now, if something actually starts going and starts developing, that's when I'm going to sit up and go, okay, the fun's over, that's enough.
Well, I hope you're right. I've been saying for 2+ years that this was coming because I saw other online social media influencers priming all of this. Multiple people talking about this, just randomly, every once in a while, you'd hear someone talk about taking over Canada or liberating Canada. Whether it was Tucker Carlson, Lieutenant Steve Rogers, Tim Pool, others. I don't think there's more to it. I think it is an actual serious thing, and it should be taken seriously. This is actually a threat to our sovereignty, and we need real leaders to stand up to this, and quickly, in my opinion.
We did, because I certainly don't agree. I don't want to become the 51st state.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Like, my family, going back to my great-grandfather, they fought for this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, like I said, up to this point, I look upon it. I'm getting a bit tired of it, mind you. It's like, okay, look, you've had your fun. Enough, right? You get ready to run your house down there, and we're going to get our house situated up here, type thing. I would not be happy. That is, to put it mildly, to me, I think it's time, move on, okay, you've had your joke and stuff. Having Kevin O'Leary?
Yes.
Going down, starting to do that, I'm like, oh, come on, cut it out. There's a joke, and yes, I know Trudeau and Trump don't get along and whatever. Of course, mind you, Trudeau's about as useful as a wet fish rag in the best of days, but to my mind, he's going to be gone soon.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want people focusing on, like what Robert and I are focusing on, is where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we, we're going into next year on the assumption that it's going to be a much better year. I cannot wait to kick 24 in the ass out the door.
I don't know. I'm not getting a good feeling about 2025 already. None of this stuff coming from Trump is making me feel good, I have to admit. It doesn't feel like it did in 2016 at all, to me. Not at all. This is a totally different deal, man. This is not the Trump of 2016. This is a new thing. I have my own views. Sorry, what's that?
Oh, sorry. The only sense of desperation I'm getting is Polyev, in all seriousness, right? No kidding. We got to get that boy in there as soon as possible. We have to. He is the only one that can fix this mess with the tariffs, with the border, with housing, and God forbid, get rid of the carbon tax. I'm tired of being nickeled and dimed to death, and that's what it feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes that much of a difference for us, especially the heating. It's like, oh, please, thank God we heat by wood. We do have electric, of course, we got power. But thank God for my ingenuity, 80% of it is solar, which I bought, right? Thank God I did all of that before this carbon tax, because it really does nickel and dime you to death. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the hydro, I look at my hydro bill, I'm like, what the hell is this crap? You know, 20 bucks here, 50 bucks there. It's like, you know, we all work hard for our money.
So, Kitty, let me just get you to wrap it up. Give us a final thought on this tonight.
Well, the feeling I have is we have a wee bit of a bumpy road ahead, but we have come through the worst of it, and it really, seriously, to everybody in the chat, to you, Rick, to your family, to Cosmos, I really do think that all of us should, in all honesty, give ourselves a pat in the back. We have literally come through a war without shots being fired. We have come through stuff that if we were told ahead of time that this, that, and the other would happen, we'd be like, oh, hell no, absolutely not. We can't survive that. Well, we did. We've come out on the other side, and all we have to do is just get over this last little hurdle, and the only way we're going to make it out of this is by putting in our mind that we will make it to the other side. Failure is not an option, and there is no damn way that someone's going to take our country away from us. And we just have to keep that in our brains and just be like Trudeau is going. It's like basically just disregard him now, like he's going. We have come through the other side. We have come through, all of us. We've been traumatized in our lives, in our personal lives. I know that every single person, including us, we've all been, and you know, like we know, we've all been traumatized, and we come through the other side. And I really do think that we should be proud of ourselves and just be like, you know what, literally get 24 in the ass and just be like, right, 2025, I'm ready for you. Bring it.
All right. Kitty, thank you for calling in tonight. Always a pleasure.
Hey, anytime. And seriously, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. You all of you have a very safe and Happy New Year. And blessings to all.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and yours as well.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Take care. And you know, folks, we started off talking about the immigration issue. I often wonder, what would Ronald Reagan do in a situation like this, whatever the scenario of the day might be? And with that, I thought we would take a little look back. Here's a Ronald Reagan flashback. This is what Ronald Reagan had to say about immigration back in his day.
You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American. Yes, the torch of Lady Liberty symbolizes our freedom and represents our heritage, the compact with our parents, our grandparents, and our ancestors. It is that lady who gives us our great and special place in the world. For it's the great life force of each generation of new Americans that guarantees that America's triumph shall continue unsurpassed into the next century and beyond. Other countries may seek to compete with us, but in one vital area, as a beacon of freedom and opportunity that draws the people of the world, no country on earth comes close. This, I believe, is one of the most important sources of America's greatness. We lead the world because, unique among nations, we draw our people, our strength, from every country and every corner of the world. And by doing so, we continuously renew and enrich our nation. While other countries cling to the stale past, here in America, we breathe life into dreams, we create the future, and the world follows us into tomorrow. Thanks to each wave of new arrivals to this land of opportunity, we're a nation forever young, forever bursting with energy and new ideas, and always on the cutting edge, always leading the world to the next frontier. This quality is vital to our future as a nation. If we ever closed the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost.
And with that, we close off tonight's program. Love you guys. No movie tonight. Just not enough time to get it set up now. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But I will be back tomorrow with our regular Maverick News program, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you then. On the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.